Okay, what we're going to do now is finish up the sides of this thing so it's just not so blocky. So I'm going to press the U key, then press L for my loop selection, and we're going to try and get that loop right there. And then I'll press the move command, and I'm going to move this guy out about that far. Okay, make sure you get that first edge, not the actual edge of the cap, because you want that cap to actually stay on the inside. Okay. Now, if you want to use snapping, press the P key, and I've got 2D snapping on. Okay, so that I can do this exactly the same on both sides. Okay, so U, L for loop. Note that I'm at edge mode over here, so I can select the edges. Okay, press the E key for move, and then move that out one. Okay, go back, select, click blank to deselect, and press the S, and you can see that it fits in. All right, so that looks okay, but it's still just kind of nothing. It's kind of flat, right? Well, it needs to have a little bit of depth to it. So the way I'm going to do that is with the smooth shift command, and that's over down here, okay? But it's ghosted. So get to polygon mode. Now that's active. So just click that. Now remember that base is in another layer over here. Okay, it's a separate object. So we can just literally click and drag, and it's only going to apply to the actual cylinder. Okay, just thickens that up. Okay. We'll save it out. Okay, back to edge mode. Press the U and then the L again for your loop, and you can come in here to this outer edge, and then we'll back up to the other side. Hold the shift key and add to the selection. Okay, come down here to bevel, and in this case I'm just going to click and drag, but I want to give it a little subdivision. So down here in the attributes manager I can add some subdivisions, and I think 1 or 2 should be fine. Okay, it's going to add a little bit of detail, probably just 1 because we're going to put hypernerve on here. Just 1 like that. Okay, and then we'll deselect, and there is our finished little metal clamp, and we're going to clone this in a little bit and use it for the top portion as well, but that is a nice base for the lamp itself. Works out pretty well. If you take a look at this, press the Command R or Control R, see it's actually looking quite nice and clean. Okay, and that's without the hypernerbs. Now what I can do is take this and drop it into this hypernerb group, and when I render again, now you can see that it's really refined. Okay, now the inside needs an extra bevel. Okay, because if you look in there, we got just a little bit of pinching on there. So to do that, we'll go to polygon mode. Okay, and you can just loop around like that. Select bevel and make sure that in your attributes manager, preserve groups is checked on so that they bevel together, and just bevel that a little bit. And so now when you do a render, you're not going to get that pinching. It stays clean inside there. Okay, and so we'll do the same to the other side as well. So just select around, bevel, and just click and drag a little, and you're all set. Little render, nice and clean. So file and save. All right, so there is our model to this point. So now what we're going to do is just create very simple poles that are going to stick up from the top. And for that, we'll just come over here and go to a side view. Okay, we're going to add another cylinder. Okay, like that. And you can see that it's now in a separate element. Okay, it's oversized, which is fine because we're just going to size that up to exactly what we need. And in this view, I'm going to press S to scale that, to size that to view, and then we'll choose our scale. Click right in the center, and we can just scale that down like that. Press the E key for move, and we'll move it down. And maybe we'll scale it again. That's the T key. Just about like that. Okay, so let's take a look at it from a perspective view. Good. And so it's now lined up in there just right. But we don't want it in the center. We actually want 2 of these, just to give this thing a little bit of a variation. Okay, so we'll go back to the E key, and I'm just going to move this over to about here. Looks good. All right, so that's a good position. Now I haven't made this editable yet. So what I need to do is go over here, before I do that, because I want to change just a few things for the cylinder, we're going to select it, and we're going to give it just a few segments. We don't need many, but just a little bit in case we want to add some interest to it. But we're going to press the scale command up here, and we are going to, you can scale it or use the attributes manager, simply because, again, it's not actually set to a particular size yet. So we could bring the height all the way up. And then we'll move it back up. And that's about right, yeah. So about 380 meters there, 380 millimeters, okay? Just about like that, okay? And then we're going to copy and paste this, okay? So you literally can do Command-C or Control-C on the PC and Command-V to paste. And you can see up here in your Objects Manager, there's two of those. So we'll just select one, and we're just going to move that over. Oops, make sure you grab it right on the handle. And actually, you know what? Let's make sure the snapping is set to 2D snapping. I have 2.5. There we go. Okay, so that was the P key for the snapping. Okay, so there is two of these. And now for this cylinder, this original one, Command or Control-C to copy, Command or Control-C to paste. And then let's drag that right up to the top. S to bring it to view just to make sure we're set there. It looks like I can move it over just a bit. Okay, now this is going to be, we'll call this middle bracket. This bottom cylinder is going to be called lower bracket. And then we're going to take these pipes, and we'll call this arm, we'll call this lower arm 1. And then again, just double click, lower arm 2. And I'm going to take both of these, holding the shift key, and drive them into the NURBS. Now you don't necessarily need to smooth those out too much. They're pretty smooth to begin with, but it's not a bad idea, just in case we edit their structure a little bit. Okay, so I need to refine it a little bit, but we got everything pretty much in place. You can see here that this needs to come over a little. If you press S to take a look at the whole thing, or just zoom out, because nothing is selected, you can see that it's coming along. And we're just going to create one more pipe along the top. But let's move on to the next video, and we'll edit these and get them all in position the way we need, and then do the next phase.